Hi, everybody. I'm Jocelyn Torres. I'm the chair of the Senior Lawyers Division. It's a pleasure to welcome you here tonight. We will have Judge Bustamante give the welcoming introduction, and then I will go through the names of the attorneys that have passed during the past year. Uh, Associate Dean Serge Martinez will also speak. He was instrumental in helping us hand out the scholarships to the UNM law students, so we thank him for that. And then Terry Revo will present the scholarships. Judge Bustamante.
Thank you. Welcome. I really wish we had more folks here. It's hard to get in touch with families. I found out as we tried to gather people to come to this tonight. Uh, we'll keep at it, and we'll get more people as the years go on. Um, I'm going to do a little bit of a, not just a welcome, but a little bit of a remembrance and reflection also for the ceremony tonight. Uh, I don't know about you all, but I find those hard to do. When my folks passed away, I'm the oldest in the family. Traditionally, I'm the one who's supposed to do that. I couldn't. I let my younger brother. I asked my younger brother to do it for me. So these are difficult things to do for family folks and anybody. I am of an age, and Terry's of an age, and Jenny's of an age now that we look at the group of people that are here, and we knew basically all of them. Some of them I've known since when I first started practicing law 49 years ago. And so these are folks that I grew up with in the law. And so it, well, for lack of a better term, hits me when people start to pass away. What makes it easier for this is that at least we're not doing a reflection on an entire life, correct? I mean, we really are. Some are very close friends, some are colleagues, some are rivals. And so we're really talking about work lives here. And that really makes a difference. Um, uh, so we're talking about a set of lives, work lives and lives that are now done, right? They've passed. We combine this program with the scholarship program as a symbol of passing the torch in ways. I mean, we are awarding scholarships tonight to people who are, no, they haven't even started yet. They haven't even graduated from law school yet, have they? And so, but it's a symbolic sort of thing that we honor those who have worked uh, and um, and talk about and give some help to those who are coming along. There's too many people here to talk about specifically. I'll mention just two. Uh, um, um, Jim Catron, who's a classmate of mine. We almost became law partners when we came out of law school. It didn't work out for us. Jim moved away, but he was an interesting fellow. Loved to be alone. Um, that's why he moved out into the country. The second one I want to talk about is Don Jones. I never practiced with him, but he started out with the Sutton firm, did commercial work. When I was a baby lawyer, I did some work for an SNL here in town. I didn't know anything about SNL work or loans or any of that stuff. Don Jones was so helpful to me from the beginning with no charge. He did exactly what older, more experienced attorneys should do, which is be helpful and be mentors to younger attorneys as they're coming through. This whole list of people here really represent sort of the best of the profession. They all, I look at this list, and they are all people who represent their clients zealously, but didn't go over the board to where none of us like to see. They were zealous, but didn't do what they shouldn't do. They were counselors also. They made honest arguments and honorable arguments. and they were honorable in their dealings with other lawyers, with clients, with witnesses, and with judges. We have a number of judges here tonight. You know, I are a member of the Judge Club, and so I knew these folks very, very well. I assure you that all of the judges who we're talking about tonight and past tonight were people who were scrupulously fair in everything they did in every case that they did. So, in short, all of these people uh, demonstrated and lived their lives to show that the law is an honorable profession, ethical, principled, and respectable. That's not the way most people actually see lawyers. Most people see lawyers as something else. Part of that is on some of us who don't act honorably and respectfully. Part of it is, nah, you know, we all go with the stereotypes, unfortunately. Um, they all showed that to be a good lawyer, an effective lawyer, you didn't have to be a jerk, and you didn't have to be greedy. You didn't have to be ugly. You didn't have to engage in sharp practice. You could be a good lawyer and be effective and take care of your clients by being exactly the opposite. So we again going back to the combination of the ceremonies. These people showed us how lawyers should be and how they should act, and we hope that in our little small part here, that we will inspire the young people coming up. Wannabes? No, I won't call them that. The young folks coming up that when they do get their license, that they really do act in the best traditions of what is truly an honorable profession. So that's why we're here tonight. Thank you for coming. We now have the roll call.
Thank you, Judge Bustamante. We do welcome everybody that's here. I gave a little, last year I was chair-elect, and I spoke briefly to the people in attendance. And I remembered a ceremony I had seen in 2007, which I was not quite a senior lawyer in those days, but I had seen the senior lawyer ceremony that they just had. Actually, they just had stand-up tables, and they had hors d'oeuvres, and then they had 2 tickets. You could get a Coke or drink or whatever you wanted. And this was at the Inn of the Mountain Gods in Ruidoso. And I was like, that is so cool. And it just stayed with me, not ever thinking I was going to be a senior lawyer, of course, but just the thought that how generous these people are. They didn't ask, do you want to be a member of our group? How long have you practiced law? Nothing. They just invited everybody that came into that area to have some hors d'oeuvres and to share in the celebration. And it stayed with me. So when a friend of mine asked me 3 years ago to join the senior lawyers division, I said, yeah, I definitely, because, that was the generosity and the hospitality that I remembered. That was in my mind. And it's been a great experience. It's so sad to be commemorating the lawyers that have passed. And like Judge Bustamante said, I knew several of them. I knew them in law school. I graduated in 1982, and I've known them practicing law. I've known Don Jones since I was a law clerk at the Sutton Law Firm. And even though I was in the trial lawyer section and he was in the property section, he was just such a wonderful, outstanding person that I got to know him really well, just because he was always so friendly and so concerned about the clerks. And he was always asking us, if I can help you with anything, you just let me know. So I had seen him at the annual meeting last year, and we had this great conversation to catch up on all these years. And I thought, well, I'll see him then again next year and we can, continue our talk. And he passed away. I think it was this March, but I did get to know his wife and some other family members. So you just never know, when my grandfather used to say in Spanish that everybody has a little line, and you never know when your time is going to be up. And I think, we always think it's not going to be me, but then a lot of times, like what Judge Bustamante said, when you see your peers, your friends, your colleagues, the people that you have admired for all these years passing away, then it really does hit home. But these attorneys have had a fantastic profession. They have represented the State Bar of New Mexico in the most admirable way that they possibly could. I have personally had primarily a career in public law. I retired as a children's court attorney, and now I have 2 jobs, not one. I work for the legislature during the session, and then I work for the city all the rest of the year. So I really enjoy it, though. I'm a contractor and can do and say as I please. I'm just kidding. But it kind of feels like that after working for the state. But also, a lot of the lawyers have made such great contributions in private law too, family law, commercial law, business law, to help people even now, like the elder guardianship cases. I mean, these are just fantastic because, lawyers are working overtime to help our society, to improve our society here in New Mexico. And hopefully some of that spreads throughout the nation. I've done a lot of work in environmental law, and I have seen so many improvements from where we were in 1978 and where we are today. So, attorneys have the knowledge, but another thing I think that we have the commitment to see the project through. We don't just get to the end of the project and say, okay, I'm done. No, let me follow up. Let me see it through. Let me make sure that we get it done in the very best way that we possibly can. And that's why we are honoring the attorneys that have passed away, and we are honoring the 3 recipients of the SA scholarships because they have been above and beyond their colleagues, third-year law students, by winning the $5,000 scholarships that will be awarded to each of them later this evening. So we are recognizing camaraderie, but we are also recognizing excellence in the attorneys and judges that have already passed away before us and the ones that are now going to start practicing law. I went to a Young Lawyers Division reception this summer, and I had no idea. I just went on behalf of the Public Law Board. And the students or the attorneys that were there had just sworn in just that day. And I was like, well, when did you get sworn in? And they're like, today. I was like, today? And it was just so cool because I felt like, gosh, kind of by accident, I ended up being a part of the celebration. And it was just, to me, it brought back memories of when I was sworn in, when I became a lawyer. Now, my family had to travel up to Santa Fe, but what a beautiful, solemn event that was and is for attorneys even today. As far as the topics, this year's topic for the scholarship was, what are the implications of indicting a United States president? Judge Bustamante proposed that topic, and the board, the Senior Lawyers Division board, approved it. The prior topic 2 years ago questioned whether the U.S. Supreme Court should adopt a code of ethics, which they did yesterday. So our topics are pretty timely and have been well covered by the students. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and read the names of the attorneys that have passed away. Terry Revo, who is the chair of the In Memoriam Committee and the Scholarship Committee, will be banging the gong. So he will be right. We just to emphasize the importance of every attorney that we name. Anybody that is here on behalf of the attorney, the judge that I name, you're welcome to raise your hand, stand up, just to give recognition that their family, friends are here on their behalf. Okay? Okay, I'm going to start now with Frank Bachicha Jr. Sigmund Bloom. I'll read it from the screen. Okay. Vincent Art Bova. William Bill Thomas Caniglia. James W. Catrone Jr. James George Chakiris. Colbert Nathaniel Coldwell. The Honorable Judge William Deaton. Judge Rivera is here on his behalf, and a friend, and Judge Kennedy. Thank you. Lotario Duran Ortega. Samuel Arnold Francis. G. Holt Garver. Mark Geiger. Mark A. Gordon. The Honorable C. Leroy Hansen. Charles L. Harrington. Kimrick F. Hayner. Mary Ann S. Hughes. Colin L. Hunter. Donald L. Jones. Lara K. Keithley. The Honorable Mark A. Macaron. Louis Stefan Marchand. Alfred Joseph Martin Jr. The Honorable Kenneth H. Martinez. Rose Eileen Provan. Florencio Larry Ramirez. Stuart D. Shaner. Malcolm L. Shaw. Timothy M. Sheehan. Thomas Schmidt II. Martin D. Soblick. Mary Ann Stein. Thomas Sullivan. Alan R. Teradash. Morgan L. Taylor. James E. Thomas. Theodore Ted Trujillo. William Bill Tryon. Gerald Jerry Valentine. Alan Lynn Williamson. Sarah S. Works. Bradford Zekas. I'd like to read a poem to honor those that have passed. We remember them in the rising of the sun and in its going down. We remember them in the opening of buds and in the rebirth of spring. We remember them in the beginning of the year and when it ends. We remember them when we are weary and in need of strength. We remember them when we are lost and sick at heart. We remember them when we have joys we yearn to share. We remember them. So long as we live, they too shall live, for they are part of us now as we remember them. Thank you. Terry.
We are pleased to have with us this afternoon Serge Martinez from the School of Law, New Mexico School of Law. And he was very kind to us earlier in the year, and he invited us to talk to his clinical students. And it was a great group, and we really had a good time. And he's volunteered to help us out this evening. So I'd like to introduce you to Sergio Martinez.
Excuse me. Thank you so much, Terry. So I'm Serge Martinez. I'm the Associate Dean for Experiential Learning at University of New Mexico School of Law. And I'm be here tonight to represent the law school and also as a member of the bar to be part of this commemoration and this celebration of the scholarship recipients. So first, let me acknowledge that our legal community, the bar has suffered many great losses this year, and I give my sincere condolences, excuse me, to the family members and friends who are here tonight who lost someone this year. And I join with your Lawyers Division in honoring and remembering them, and I'm grateful for this opportunity to celebrate their contributions to our community and our profession. And I'm so grateful to be here tonight to acknowledge their history and their legacy, and give my thanks to the Senior Lawyers Division for organizing this lovely commemoration. I'm also extremely grateful to the Senior Lawyers Division for your continued commitment and support by providing incredibly generous scholarships to our students. On behalf of UNM School of Law, thank you, thank you, thank you. I have, as Terry was saying, I've invited Jocelyn and her co-conspirators to my classroom the past couple of years to talk about this scholarship because it is incredible, but also to introduce my students to the Senior Lawyers Division and to help them understand what I'm pretty confident I did not understand when I was in law school, but I certainly do now, which is that there is tremendous service and work that has gone in to bring us to where we are now by the folks who came before us as in this profession and in this legal community. Everything we're doing as lawyers now reflects the work and service that they did, and there's so much to learn from, so much to gain, so much to learn from their experiences, and so many mistakes to be avoided if we take the opportunity to connect across the generations of lawyers within this single profession and this bar. And I want to congratulate our students, to Andy and Laura and Noah, on receiving these scholarships. It's a tremendous honor to have your work recognized by the Senior Lawyers Division and to receive this generous financial support. I've had the opportunity to get to know all three of these students in the classroom and in the clinic, and I can confirm these are amazingly good choices for this scholarship, and I'm very proud of the work that they've done to be able to receive this recognition tonight. I also want to recognize that these scholarships represent more than financial support, although that is huge and it is so important, especially to young lawyers just embarking on their this profession. But they also represent the link between the most senior members of our profession and the freshest members of our profession, and the commitment of the senior lawyers to share their resources and their experience and their wisdom to support the generation of lawyers who bring new ideas, new energy, and new approaches to practice. The Senior Lawyers Division represents, I think, the very best in our profession by embracing its role as stewards of the profession and providing space for the growth and support of those who are following them and recognizing that they already have much to offer. Thank you to the Senior Lawyers Division for its ongoing commitment to looking back and acting forward. And I'm deeply grateful for their commitment to the students of UNM School of Law and their generous support for the honorees this evening and for the past several years financially, and their enduring commitment to mentoring and supporting new lawyers who are coming into the profession. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Serge. Your participation on behalf of the law school is very important to us, and we hope that that continues through the course of the years to come. Now, this is the lighter part of the program, where we get to introduce to you these wonderful third-year students from the law school. We've been doing this for a number of years, and I want to talk just very briefly about Brad Zekas. His family is over here. Brad was the one who brought me into the Senior Lawyers Division years ago. And little did I know that I would be participating 15 plus years since that initial introduction. The reason I'm mentioning Brad tonight, separate from the various other attorneys who have passed on, is that he was very influential in starting this program years before I started. I took this on as an invitation from him. And he said, Terry, I think you'd be really good in this situation. And I jumped in, and it's really been, I can't say it's been a joy, but it's been good. And I think we try and do good, not only for the memories of the lawyers who have passed on, but the recognition to the families and friends of the lawyers who have passed on. So with that, I want to introduce you to the 3 scholarship winners. Now, as Jocelyn said before, the topic was the implications of indicting a U.S. president. Obviously, that's a topic that has been discussed ad nauseum in the media, and I'm sure with many of you, with your families and with your friends. So I'm going to introduce the winners, and we'll do it alphabetically. So I'm going to talk a little bit about each one first. Noah El-Larry, am I pronouncing that correctly? El-Larry, okay. He talked to us in his essay about executive privilege versus the rule of law. And in case anybody hasn't been watching, the issue of the rule of law is probably one of the most foremost ones in terms of preserving our form of democracy. He also wondered whether there are boundaries between personal and official conduct of a president and how that would impact how they would be viewed in the potential of an impeachment or any subsequent action after that. He brings into consideration of the separation of powers. These are the legal issues: separation of powers, executive privilege, due process, and equal protection. He references the constitutional article number 1, section 3, which is mentioned in several of the other essays. What I'd like to do at this point, if I can find it in my paperwork, which I can't. Oh, here it is. The part of particular article of the U.S. Constitution has to do with the Senate, and I'm reading this directly from the Constitution, and it's the portion of the Constitution that deals with the Senate, as well as at the end deals with the president. The Senate shall have the sole power to try all impeachments. When sitting for that purpose, they shall be on oath or affirmation. When the President of the United States is tried, the Chief Justice shall preside, and no person shall be convicted with concurrence of 2/3 of the members present. Now, the next paragraph is what's on our minds these days. Judgment in cases of impeachment shall not extend further than the removal from the office and disqualification to hold and enjoin any office or honor, trust, or profit under the United States Constitution. However, but the party convicted of impeachment shall nevertheless be liable and subject to indictment, trial, judgment, and punishment according to law. Now, one of the things that I noticed about that is there seems to be a conflict. The first is that they'll be convicted, the president could be convicted and shall not exceed further from the impeachment and the possible removal of office. And then in the next sentence, it talks about that they could be subject, the president could be subject to trial, judgment, and punishment. So going back to Noah's references, okay, I did cover that. In any event, either or both of these processes that I have read to you believes to be in violation of the public trust. And that's one of the things that he mentioned a number of times in his essay. The concept of a public trust, the trust that we have in our president and the trust that we have in our government and the administrators of the government. So Noah, would you please come up? Whoops. So here's your check and congratulations. And I'd allow Noah to speak to you because I'm sure a word or two to say.
Good evening. Thank you for being here. Thank you for having me. First of all, I'd like to thank, of course, the Senior Lawyers Division for this extremely generous award. I also would like to thank my family for being here to support me tonight, as well as my friends, some of whom are in the back and some of whom are in the front here. I also have to thank the UNM Law School for giving me the training that allowed me to write this 500-word essay. Actually, it was 498. I also have to give a shout out to the UNM Linguistics Department, where I learned about the importance of language and interpretation. UNM has provided me just an excellent education, and I'm proud to be a Lobo. One thing that I love about studying the law is the beauty of interpreting language. I think that Terry's introduction about my essay shows that we're lucky as either law students or lawyers to be able to be in a profession where interpretation is the key of the whole profession. For example, when I began writing this essay, although this topic has been discussed widely in the media, it's not something that you can just look up the answer to. And that's the beauty of legal work, is that the answers are not just at the end of some Google search or at the end of some AI prompt. You really do have to look at the text, and you do have to look at the history in which the text was enacted in order to really understand what's going on with any form of law. I also like to thank my bosses, Paul Kennedy and Jessica Hernandez, Elizabeth Harrison. They really gave me a shot when I was a 1L at the University of New Mexico, and I wouldn't be where I am today without the training I received at their law firm. I also am so honored to be here tonight at this very, very great ceremony honoring those who have come before me. And I want to say, in addition to everything that's been said already, that I think that these people's memory live on in the minds of their clients, for example, their minds and hearts of their colleagues, and also, in fact, in what they've written. I've been recently writing a brief about the Indian Gaming Regulatory Act, and I noticed that Judge Hanson is on this list of attorneys and judges who have passed away. And I just want to say that he wrote an incredibly informative opinion that I recently read and cited in a brief on IGRA. And I think that that just shows that in this profession, life continues after life. Finally, I'd like to say that although we do live in trying times, we also, as attorneys especially and law students, are lucky to live in interesting legal times. This prompt, thank you, Judge Bustamante, for writing such an interesting prompt, I think goes to show that. And I'm just so excited to join this legal community. Thank you.
And by the way, the people are being introduced alphabetically, and it has nothing to do with who was the first one chosen. We now have Laura Ingersoll, who is in the back holding Penelope, and who has just got the wonderful, most wonderful eyes and great face. She's going to be something else when she grows up. So Laura, come on up. In Laura's essay, she talked about perception equals reality. And this is obviously important perception these days because many people are ideological in their orientation and they only want to hear about the things that support their particular position. So Laura started off her essay talking about the perception equals reality. And she goes into the fact that there is no absolute presidential privilege to avoid criminal prosecution. And that's one of the reasons that I read from the constitutional article that deals with the president and the impeachment and the possible subject in the event of the possible what could happen to the if the impeachment was successful. She references the Office of Legal Counsel. And those are the people who wrote the previous memorandum, which is of an opinion that that a sitting U.S. president can be criminally prosecuted. She was in agreement with the Office of Legal Counsel that pursuing criminal charges against a sitting president would be inappropriate. Of course, we don't have a whole lot of guidance other than what I read before about criminally prosecuting a president that has been impeached and removed for office or a prior president. And that's the issue that seems to be grabbing most people's attention these days. And she also was one of the essayists who made reference to the doctrine of separation of powers or the need for high levels of confidentiality, which could support an absolute unqualified presidential privilege from judicial process. So I introduce you to Laura Ingersoll. And Laura, here is.
I first want to thank the Senior Lawyers Division so much for giving me the scholarship. It means so much to me to have your support to help me through this final semester at law school. I also want to thank my husband and daughter who have been here this evening to support me. They have also been a support and an inspiration to me throughout law school as well. Being able to attend law school at UNM has meant so much to me. I've been attending for UNM for many years now. I first got my master's in biomedical science here, and then I got my doctorate in chemistry before I went to law school. I've always loved science, but after completing my PhD, I was drawn to the thought of pursuing a career in law, and I can say that it's certainly been one of the best decisions I've ever made. Law school has given me so much. I've made amazing and hopefully friends here, and I've received a wonderful education from a faculty that really cares about the students. I have a great deal of respect for the law, which has only grown at my time at UNM, particularly due to the influence of the many wonderful people I've met there. Your support in giving me this scholarship will be so helpful as I enter my final semester in law school and I begin to transition into my career. Thank you so much, and I hope I can make you all very proud in the future.
The next person is Andy Lance. And in his essay, he brought us back a number of decades to the Nixon era. And there's a quote from past President Richard Nixon, which says that if the president does it, it can't be illegal. We don't think that's true anymore. But I'm going to get to the converse of that in just a moment. So if President Nixon thought